Good afternoon, everyone. It must be time for another episode of Get to Know Her because the sun's shining. It seems to me that every time we have an episode, the sun's out. So that must be a good sign. I hope you're all doing well. I am so excited about the show today. You're in for a real treat with our guest today. You're going to leave this interview feeling happy, joyful, hopeful, all of those things, I promise you. Before I introduce our guest, I have some exciting news about our sponsor, Brenda Badome. I'm wearing one of her beautiful long sweaters today with an icy blue top. And Brenda texted me yesterday to let me know that her spring collection is now available on the website. And she wanted all of our viewers to know that she has lots and lots of happy colors to choose from. So make sure you check that out. Go to brendabadome.com and do not forget to use the coupon code Get to Know Her because Brenda's giving us 22% off of our order in 2022, which is so awesome. And then, of course, you have to have the coordinating jewels. I actually decided to pair up some icy pink with my, is there such a thing as icy pink? I think so. With the icy blue top, which I'm loving. So make sure you go to glamjewels.com, check out our jewels, get yourself something nice, a little treat maybe for Valentine's Day for yourself, and just enjoy. Now, it's time to introduce our guest. I cannot wait for you to meet Madeleine Marentette. Madeline is the founder and CEO of Grail Springs Retreat Center for Wellbeing, Canada's leading holistic wellness retreat destination. She's a best-selling author and educator, and she continues to illuminate the path for individuals seeking personal transformation and life fulfillment. For over 28 years, Madeline has dedicated herself to the study and processes of the human soul energy connection. This awareness she feels relevant more than ever to today's changing and challenging world. A dedicated life of service to people, planet, and our sacred animal kingdom has her working relentlessly, taking action, co-creating with others, and hosting wellness retreat programs at Grail Springs. Madeline holds a series of lectures and retreats throughout the year, both at Grail Springs and abroad. She is presently working on her next book on the human condition as it relates to the sacred and the evolutionary track of soul consciousness and destiny. I cannot think of a better way for us to kick off the year. February 1st, this is what we need. Let's bring on Madeline.
Hi, everybody. Hi, Monica.
Hello, Madeline. It's so good to see you. I had to put a little post on Facebook just to let everybody know that even after a 10-minute sound check with you, I was already feeling uplifted. I had like a bounce in my step. Yeah.
Yeah, we had a good little chat there.
We
covered
did.
A lot of ground.
We did. We sure did. So Madeline, this is so exciting and there's so much to talk about. And I'm really excited that you have some juicy stuff for the guests to explore and work on for themselves over the next little while. But I wanted to start way back at the beginning by asking you what little Madeline wanted to be when she grew up.
Wow. Okay. Well, I kind of still want to be her. Oh my gosh. So my earliest memories, of course, that I hounded my mother with was I wanted to be a go-go dancer and a hippie. And I kind of still do. I still have that in my blood, you know? And I think it's because my mom was she was a young mother and she was really fashionable. And I remember her taking me to school and she had these hot pants on and I just thought she was the coolest thing ever. And I remember thinking, oh my gosh, you're an angel. Like you really are an angel. She was so beautiful and she just took such pride in herself. As it turned out, so did my grandmother, her mom in Germany. And of course, we share a little bit of that cultural background, you know, the very prim and proper women of those days. And my grandmother was one of them. And my mother had a great sense of fashion as well. And then I picked up on that. And, you know, design is my thing. So I still get to play with color and fabric and fashion, and I love it. I feel, I think why I was so tuned into it was because a lot of women will relate to this, and men, your audience.
Mhm.
You know, your clothing is, to me, like the sheath of the soul. And so when you're not feeling quite maybe your optimal self or connected, you know, you're going to throw on some sweats and let your hair go and just feel free to just not worry about appearance, but also feel comfortable, right? It's a comforting feeling. But when you're going out into the world and meeting friends for dinner or having a business meeting, there's a certain way you want to hold yourself and present yourself. And I do feel, I've always felt like clothing is a tool to help us feel better and feel great and express part of who we are. So yeah, there's still that hippie in me too. I'm a kind of a bohemian, you know, lover of that lovely wild style and, you know, no rules kind of thing, but just to be yourself. And
Oh,
yeah,
that's fantastic.
I think that led into my future and where I was headed to. It's all been
Yes,
part of the journey.
for sure. And I'm so curious to know, because you founded Grail Springs in 1993. So you were obviously 10 or 11 years old then when you.
Well, thank you very much. Yeah,
Yeah.
I life went forward. I went into design school and
Mhm.
got really sick in my third year. And not to tell this story or, you know, make it long, but essentially I went from a health crisis to through a healing journey. And it was the 80s. So if anyone's my age will remember, the New Age movement was really like exploding in the 1980s in Toronto, all over the world. Transcendental meditation was something everybody was trying to learn and understand, which, you know, was brought from India. Thank you to the Beatles. Like there was a whole movement to this whole new understanding of another way of life, and also training the mind. I mean, no one taught us that. No one was speaking in those languages as teenagers, but as the 80s entered and this new movement came, it really was a new age of raising consciousness. And so at the same time, a health crisis, I threw myself fully into meditation. I had gone to see the Dalai Lama at the University of Toronto, and it was the moment that really clicked for me, that I had to understand my mind. And henceforward, probably when I hit 40 is when I hit my highest level of health and well-being, from being very sick at 28. It took a long time. There was no internet, remember, in the
Yeah.
1980s. We forget that. I think not until 1996 or something. So you were really on your own, you know, seeing doctors, professionals. There was no, you know, yoga studios or naturopaths on every corner like there is today. There was really nowhere to go except a library, and if you were lucky, you would find some answers. So I was really grateful to have been raised kind of through that era and learned quite a bit, experimented in every aspect, from crystals to tuning forks to channelers to astrology, all of it. I just immersed myself in that whole world for a lot of years, decades. I still am. I still am experimenting. And that led to wanting to do retreats, very simply, renting places in Toronto. And then we outgrew that. And eventually it was time to leave the city and build our own. And here we are. And yeah,
Gosh,
and
that's amazing. And I'm curious to know how you found that property. Were you familiar with that area already? Because it's, you know, it's in such
it's
a
magical.
beautiful, unique, magical.
Yeah, I was not. We wanted to go on a silent retreat. We were using old school maps. I'm looking one night and all of a sudden this name pops out, Silent Lake Provincial Park, which is 20 minutes south of here. And we did a 2-week silent meditation retreat there. Interesting how, you know, it still relates to what we're doing today. And got supplies up in Bancroft. And so when it was time to leave the city and start a new journey, we were very, in love with this area. Didn't really know much about the quality or the geography and the geology principles and what was going on here at the time in the Spring-fed Lake. It was quite accidental, perhaps not,
Yeah.
and was just led back here, and property was sitting here waiting for us. So that's how it all began.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's very special. It's very special. And it has an Algonquin history, of course, one of the highest populated areas in all of Canada, which I didn't know until recently at the reconciliation meetings, that this area in particular, in the Algonquin area, was the highest populated of First Nations, thousands of years. So I found that was really interesting. So it has quite a sense of history, and of course we've got the petroglyphs just down the road, 40 minutes. It's really a unique area. Now, you did mention the animal kingdom, which I fully support. I'm just letting your audience know I am full of animals in my kingdom here, and I may have some interruptions. I see some spying on me right now, and if you hear a scratch or a bark, I'll have to let my doggy in.
Oh, that's great. So you have a dog and a cat, or more than that?
I have one dog now, and I have 2 cats. This is the least amount of animals I've ever had in my life. Yeah, I usually have a handful of a crew, but I've lost a few this year, which we're going to be talking about, not necessarily my loss, but about this year, right? These last couple of years.
Definitely.
And I think we had originally intended to talk about the super manifesting workshop, which I love doing, and I would love to come back and do that in November. But intuitively this morning I felt, not there yet. We are still in this little bit of a limbo, and I think it's appropriate to talk about maybe something else. And if you want, I can launch right into that.
Yes, I'm so excited about it. And this is such a treat because typically on the show, we talk a lot about your story, and which we've touched on a little bit, but for you to give us this gift, Madeline, I'm so grateful because this is big, and it's going to help so many.
It kind of is my story. It's everybody's story. And I don't want, we don't want to repeat what we've all been going through for these last 2 years. It's been a huge range. Financial, we've had grief in our lives, we've seen people get sick mentally, emotionally, a lot of talk around mental wellness. And as a facilitator who loves to help people through a process of manifesting, I just feel that there is a moment that's happening in time, in space, right now, that we all need to just take a deep breath, not to be rhetorical, but it really is a time to just calm down and slow down and do a lot of reflection. And people I know will say, I've been reflecting for 2 years and I want to stop reflecting. We have to settle a little bit more into our heart nature. A lot of us have been up here, and as a result, we've put a lot of stress and pressure on our heart, myself included. I've had some adrenal issues, just a lot of stress, pressure, because we've spent so much time in our mind, and our creative juices have been challenged. Our normal flow of, everyday routine completely thrown off guard. There has been some wonderful examples of beautiful creations that have been born for people. They've got new homes, they've moved to a new area, new jobs, they're very excited, they've started businesses. So there is all of that still going on. But there is, I think, an underlying reality that I'm seeing, and maybe I see it more because I'm in the industry of health and wellness, that people are looking for answers on how to let go of the anxiety that they've now maybe experienced for the first time in their lives. So I'm hearing a lot of that anxiety, and it's moving beyond like past depression. Like it's moving into areas of expressive anger, rage, grief, crying, sadness, not knowing how to speak to people anymore. I mean, people have really been quite stressed and challenged. And so when I think about, and thank you for that lovely introduction. My work has always really related to the aspect of the soul, the deeper inner workings of self, and how we can use our mind to tap into that expressive self, that spiritual aspect of ourselves. To me, the human personality sometimes gets stuck up here, and we don't drop in and check in with our true life expression and calling. And so I'd love to share with your listeners, anyone who's feeling like, okay, I can relate to what I'm saying, or people, we're all ready to break free, right? We're all ready to break free right now. But the concern I see is us jumping from point A to point Z without taking the proper steps. We're so anxious to get moving and to see change happening that if we don't take these proper steps, we could find ourselves with more anxiety and more pressure being put on ourselves. So there's something I told you I wanted to share. It's called the 3 Oaths to the Soul. And just came to me this morning. This is important to speak about, because I'm actually going through this process now for over a month. Because I was getting frustrated like everyone else. But the 3 oaths are an action plan or process that really is quite intuitive. And I'm sure when I say them, people will quickly understand. But I'd love to talk a lot about, especially number 1, because I think that's where we're at and we need to start. So the 3 oaths to the soul is when someone says, I want to create, you said healthy, what did you say? Happy, healthy, wise, right? Lifestyle. Yeah. Yes. Isn't that the optimum? Isn't that the real directive that we all want, is to achieve that happiness, a stress-free life, if that's at all possible, abundance, so that we can live our dreams and express and share and give and be charitable. We want all of those things and have the freedom to express ourselves. So the first one.
I was going to add to that too. I think a lot of people also are feeling like there's been like these little blessings of COVID where you've been living in a different way. And then it's like, I kind of like this better than what I was doing before. And how do you step back? Are we even going to step back into what once was, what the expectations that we think maybe other people have on us? Like that's creating anxiety too. It's like we feel isolated, but it sure feels nice to hide too sometimes,
I think we're in for a quantum leap in lifestyle. And this happens every 50, 60, 70 years, where the planet goes through these massive, what can be massive global shifts. And I'm thinking of World War II, terrible time. The whole world was affected, not 2 years, 5 years. Poverty, death, just, a lot of suffering, terrible time. But what came out of it as a result of being in that pressure cooker, eventually the lid flies off. And as a result, what did we see? Innovation, incredible advancements in medicine, in fashion, music completely changed. Rock and roll was born. Elvis Presley came onto the scene. I mean, women's rights were starting to move up the ladder, and that conversation was starting to happen. It was like a modernization of society. not that we, we may not have achieved it as well as we could have, but there was an incredible incubation that spurned creativity. And I feel that's exactly what's happening now. So I was somewhat creative, not exactly how I had planned it, but what came out as a result was beautiful. Those are the little gems and those little oysters, the little pearls that come out of these incubation times if you let them. And so the clarity of asking the question, what is the next thing I'm supposed to do? So first of all, assessing, where are you at truly? Are you free from all of this already, or are you still feeling this bit of a shadow over your head? Are you under pressure from people around you? Take a good look and have, an evening of just writing exactly where you're at. Where is your mind at? Where's your heart at? Where's your physical body at? And so I did this, and I was recognizing I was clearly somewhere in the middle. I was not living the 8, 9, 10 that I usually am. I was in that 5, 6 zone and feeling quite de-energized, quite zapped. Once you do the assessment, it's very important that we're really clear with where we're at so that we know where we're going. You have to be clear about the questions. What's the question? For me, it was, what do I need to do to feel healthier, because I'm feeling like I'm going to have a heart attack? Yeah. My heart was constantly racing almost every day. And it was just, again, anxiousness, unknown, uncertainty. We're also very separated right now. It's very hard to make that connection with friends. Friends are gold, right? We know that too. It's wonderful being alone sometimes, but this is now a time to reestablish our community and our friendships. And I think that's sort of some of the light that's sitting at the end of the tunnel. We get to, right, reconnect again at restaurants and see our besties. Very, very important. But the 3 O's start like this. The first one is nurture. The second one is cultivation. And the third one is expression. So why I'm saying, don't skip to number C, that starting with the nurturing is where I feel we have to give ourselves that time. We have to honor that time right now. And how that looks to you or to your listeners is something, again, it comes through your own assessment. What do you need? Yeah. What do I need to get myself back to that 8, 9, 10 in health and well-being? Where are you at now, and what's going to take to get there? So say you ask that question, you're still not quite sure, which was where I was at for a bit. I woke up one morning, I said, I need to go talk to somebody. It was that simple. Yeah. Get on the phone, find a coach. And I did. Within 24 hours, I was in my car and I was on my way to see somebody. Complete stranger. Wow. Didn't matter. I just knew I need to talk to somebody. And I need to not put too much meaning. I said this to you this morning. It was like, yeah, it's true. I don't want to put a lot of meaning in my own frustration. Mm-hmm. That I recognize you've done enough analytics. Yes. Time to let go. Just let go. Yeah. We know what this was these last 2 years. We can reflect on it next year. And I know there's going to be a lot of reflection on what happened to us all. But right now, it's just time to clear the slate. The energy has been really thick and low for a couple of years now. And the bouncing back and forth, opening, closing has been tremendously hard on people's physical, mental, emotional, especially the small business owners all over Canada. Mm-hmm. So I would stress to everyone, just be kind to yourself right now. Do what you need to do to fill your cup. Yeah. get back on your vitamin regime. Don't go crazy working out. Go on long walks. This is about being gentle on your soul, on your body, mind, heart. We don't want to stay here. We just don't want to jump here. We want to build ourselves. And, a lot of women, I'd say most women are that type A personality where we're just like, okay, let's, green light, go.
Mm-hmm.
We'll get it done. Let's just get it done. But one thing I've recognized being an entrepreneur and a business owner and staffing and caring for people, it's not just about what you want or what you're capable of. You really have to recognize how your kids are feeling, how your partners are feeling, how your staff is feeling. You have to sense that you may have the energy, but maybe others don't. And I think that's why also there's a huge class clash right now, and and divisiveness in the world. We're all kind of at a different level of where we're at, and opening our eyes and recognizing that just helps us to check in with reality. Just calm down. Sorry.
Yeah. So I was going to say, it's so interesting, like the whole self-care thing. I think it is, some people think, well, what is self-care? Is it taking a bath? Is it doing this? And there are so many different ways to practice it. And it's so good to share with others on different ways that we do. And over the weekend, I was feeling frustrated because I'm behind with some paperwork that needs to be tended to, but I'm sitting and my hips hurt, and I was feeling all of this like frustration with myself. Also, like that self-talk where it's like, you've had 2 years, you could have done this, and now you're trying to cram it all in. What's wrong with you? And then I was sharing this with you backstage, but then I said, screw this. And I went to the dollar store and I got some balloons and some food coloring, and I made these ice globes. And just that little thing. And it was like, it was almost like I could feel the little kid in me saying, I need attention. Like, stop being mean. Like, let's go have some fun. And all of this analyzing that we're doing, and we're seeing like different parts of ourselves. And I don't know about you, Madeline, but it's like the little kid in me sometimes, like, she's loud, man. And she's like, we got to have fun. You got to do something. Like, what are you doing to me? Like, I feel like I've got like 2 different personalities going on some days,
Yeah. We have a lot more than that. We got a lot of divas, a lot of childlike. Yeah. I mean, we're all of those things, right? And that's wonderful. Like, it's kind of cool that we have all of these different, stereotypes, or what's the word I'm looking for? Like the goddess entities. They're so different. You've got Pele, you've got the destroyer, and you have the lover, and you have the quiet hermit. I mean, we're all of these things.
I'm so happy that you're saying this, because this is something I struggle with. I think the audience probably does too, where you wake up in the morning, you go, okay, I'm going to get this done. I'm going to, and you've got like you said at the beginning, like, we're very regimented, but then when these different pieces of ourselves start showing up, it's like, no, I don't want to be like her right now. Like, you almost, like, you're constantly fighting with yourself, So
and I agree. Like, you fight it off, and then you feel guilty because you showed this part of yourself when maybe you shouldn't have. And, I think what I've realized in the last month is, again, it's about being gentle and love yourself, like truly love yourself, like truly. I used to reject that, love yourself. I never really understood what that means. What are you talking about? Love yourself. Of course I love yourself. No. I feel like at 60, I really know what that means now. Wow. It's a deeper relationship, and it's an acceptance of all aspects of self, from the fear, the jealousy, the competitiveness, the destroyer, the creator, just all of us. And I know I've met a lot of women in my life who totally embraced all of themselves, and I would find that fascinating. And now I feel like I'm finally moving into that direction. The thing is, if you've got your conscience and you are just with yourself, you'll be just with others. So regardless of how things might appear sometimes, as long as you're moving in the direction of this is truth, this is just. And yes, this might not be comfortable right now for me or you, but I think the outcome is going to be pretty good if we just embrace what is needed to be said right now. Decisions are hard sometimes when they affect other people. And that's getting back to, we can create all we want on our own. But when our creations are dependent on the partnerships and the shared perspective of other people, if we don't have that with them, it's not going to work out. It's not going to work out with your boss, your employee, a brand that you're falling in love with, but then all of a sudden the brand changes, which we're seeing in the big brands, right? The Facebooks and everybody's kind of checking out their own core values, and their core values are being tested and changed. And so when you're not in the same arena and share those same core values, you don't become a customer anymore. You leave and you find a new. And that's the same with our relationships. And I think a lot of us, like you were saying, a lot of good came out of this. We discovered maybe a greater sense of our personal perspective, which changed through COVID. So enjoying being alone, not wanting to go back to the office and live in a corporate high-level energy environment. And I have a dog scratching at my door.
Aww.
May I
Yes.
just disappear from the screen for 10 seconds and come right back? She's
Yeah,
right
yeah.
here. I just have to open the door. Sorry.
No problem. Oh, this is so enlightening. I want to see the doggy. Hopefully Madeline brings the dog for a little visit too. It's always nice when guests bring the dogs on the show. Julie Cole is watching. Thanks for the hearts, Julie.
Hi.
I was
Sorry.
just saying it's so nice when guests have animals and if you have an opportunity to snuggle one or show one, we'll take it happily.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
she's gone for see if there's any crumbs on the floor, but when she comes
Yeah.
back, I'll try. Here she is.
Aw.
You gonna say hello?
Hi,
You
sweetie.
gonna say hello? She's also deaf.
Beautiful.
She's 13.
Oh.
I'm going to see the vet tomorrow. Get a good checkup.
Yeah. Good.
But yeah, animals are definitely therapeutic. So back to nurturing.
Yeah.
That is, I believe, is really where we have to give ourselves some time to get our energy back up to par before we start moving into the cultivation. So cultivating means educating, further evolving. We don't need that right now. We've done a lot of reflection, a lot of mental work, not always good work, right? There was a lot of confusion. We weren't at our best, a lot of anxiousness. I have a tendency to want to go and cultivate like 24/7. And right now I'm just saying, it's okay. We're going to stick to self-care. Just going to nurture this body, my heart, my mind, stay calm, no expectations. And in fact, interesting, I learned this years ago. Someone said to me, a coach, he said, Madeline, pressing pause sometimes in our life is a doingness.
Yeah.
It is part of the doing. There has to be these moments of where we just don't exhale or inhale, just stop.
Right.
So that we can take another big breath and inhale what we need to inhale next. But that pause allows for synthesis. So we haven't quite synthesized what's just happened over these last couple of years. And now is not the time to synthesize. It's, to me, it's about letting go of the crap, the gooey energy, the, you know, the energy that's taken us down into the weeds. We have to let that go and at least just rise up gently. So gentleness is the key. That's what's coming to me. Be gentle. Be gentle. Be gentle with yourself. Be gentle with others. Be gentle with nature. Be gentle with everything. It's an energy. And it's not complacent. It's actually really one of the most powerful. I'm just remembering so many things from my spiritual path back in the 80s. Like it's like I'm reliving that immersion. Yeah. Now that I'm coming out of the weeds, I can see the weeds.
Right.
I can see the mucky pond. And I feel a lot better not being in it anymore. Right? I feel a lot better not being stuck in the mud. And I always think of the, out of the mud comes the lotus. And I think that's where we're getting there. There's a shift in energy. Spring is on its way. That is part of the super manifesting process. That it is a time for loving, getting out. We're coming out of that hibernation, that hermitage, and it's time to start to activate the juices again. But I'm going to do it on a different level this time around. I'm going to be just very careful with my energy and be gentle with everything. Just let this year continue to unfold the way it's going to unfold. But the cultivation is fine. We can do some cultivation, but at a very relaxed way. No pressure. No pressure, right? We want to avoid high-level pressure situations, at least for another year. The third one is expression. So that is us being ourselves and expressing our mission and our passion and all of those things. Again, do it gently. That's my recommendation. Just be calm, but focus on first your self-care. Mm-hmm. And as you said, self-care can come in many ways. It can be talking to someone, having a bath, doing a weekend detox, allowing yourself to bring things into your home like salt lamp. It's just a reminder to me. It's just a reminder.
Right.
It's like this beautiful glow. It makes a beautiful atmosphere at night. I keep my lights down. I live by candlelight at night. I take a bath at least twice a week with aromatherapy. It doesn't have to cost a lot of money, but you want to create a self-care spa in your own home, essentially, and it doesn't have to cost a lot. Weekends, I eat light soups. I wanted to pull this out because I don't know if you can, it's probably backwards maybe.
Oh, no,
Holy tea.
Yeah.
It's like my favorite product. You can get it at Whole Foods or naturopath offices and that sort of thing. I'm probably online, of course, Amazon. Holy tea. So I do this tea cleanse. I'm doing it now every weekend. Amazing. You need to be home, put it that way.
Wow. So
you don't want to be traveling.
You're not going through a couple bottles of wine on the weekend?
Not until I see your friend Catherine, maybe. Yeah, no, I'm actually being really gentle that way too. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. Through COVID, not so much. Now, I'm being a little more conscientious, back to eating lots of salads, soups, eating lighter, doing cooking, more cooking.
Alcohol is so big. Like, it's funny, when COVID started, it was kind of like, all right, this is like an extended Christmas. I'm going to have beer, a little martini, and then I'll have wine. And then I very quickly realized, like, I'm not this alcohol thing. I'm not like the happy drinker. Now I'm like, I'm like depressed. So Yeah, I have a thing now, nothing during the week. And then I buy one bottle and it will last me like from Friday till Sunday. And
Yeah.
it's just a glass to enjoy. But that's even like, that's a big change in energy from the way it
Yeah.
used to be, right? Like
And
I
for a
never,
lot of people, for a
yeah,
lot of people. And
yeah,
it's good to recognize that and say, okay, you know, it was fun while it lasted, but
yeah.
let's get some balance back. And that's the thing, is balance, balance, balance in work, balance in play, balance with quiet time for yourself. I think that's what is coming out of the COVID thing, is we're all recognizing our core values and our priorities are changing. And it's good. I think it's going to be for the better.
Yeah.
At least I'm trying to stay optimistic and hope that people are like, okay, we need to calm this shit down, right? We need to calm life down. All of, you know, we could talk forever what's going, people are still riled
Yeah.
up about the situation. I get it. I have empathy for everybody on all aspects of, you know, their views of life.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, can we not just have conversations that are calm and not hurtful and not judgmental?
Mm-hmm.
It's been really easy to judge people.
Yeah, and I think people who are, like we were saying before, like, some people go through life happy, go lucky, anything
Yeah.
goes, and now all of a sudden things are striking people in different ways, and
Yeah.
people who weren't angry before are now angry,
Mm-hmm.
feeling judgmental, feeling resentful, all of those things, and their
Yeah.
new feelings, and hence what you were saying at the beginning about a lot of people are experiencing anxiety for the first time, right?
Yeah. For the
And had
first time.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and had this pandemic never occurred, they may never
Yeah.
have had it. Yeah.
And I think a lot of people are hard on themselves with maybe some of the things they've said or done or gone online and ranted and raved and regretted and, you know, been angry at their family and said things they didn't really mean. I mean, we could go on and on. We've all kind of crossed lines. And I think this goes back to the message, I think, is not complicated. Number one, do not put a lot of meaning into your own frustration anymore. Just let it go. You know,
Mhm.
that forgiveness aspect, it's understandable what people have maybe, you know, they've crossed some boundaries, but I think they'll come back. People will bounce back. I think just
Yeah.
go easy on yourself. Forgive yourself. Forgive everybody. This has been a really strange time. Be gentle with you. Be gentle with them. Do a lot of self-care. I say find your healers in your midst. If you don't have one, Google someone in your area. Look for those Reiki masters. I am telling you, being in this industry for 28 years, energy work for me is priority over top of massage, over top of, you know, getting a facial.
Mm.
Reiki, energy work, you know, chakra balancing, powerful. If you have not had it, to me, it's an essential. It's like brushing your teeth in the morning. You wouldn't leave home without it. You would integrate energy work somehow, some way in your, you know, find it in your community and make a connection with someone. They are essential workers of the future, for sure. So that would
That's
be,
that's just so great. It's so true. I every other week I speak to someone and she's a Reiki master, and it's crazy, Madeline. Like sometimes I'm like, I don't want to do this. I got nothing to talk about. What that like nothing's happened in the last 2 weeks. It's COVID. Like, what am I gonna, and we've talked about issues and I don't even want to talk about it. I'm so sick of hearing myself like all this negative stuff. And then, an hour with her and I'm like, oh, I'm different again.
yeah.
It's really
You know,
magical.
and that would be another, like, I love being open to messages. And you started that about, you talked at the beginning about signs, you know, there, the sun coming out every time you do a broadcast. I always looking for signs. And to me, so one of the things I learned when I was traveling with Quechua shaman in Peru, I did that 3 times. Plus, I've worked with Greenland shaman and First Nations medicine people. There's something in their tradition that it's come so natural to them. It's their relationship with nature. And they live, it's not that they're looking for signs, it's that they're open to signs that come to them. And here's one thing that might help your viewers to understand how they see things. When something comes into your environment that is highly unusual, that grabs your attention, what they would say is stop, take in the moment. It's your moment. Could be a group, but that's rare. Usually it's for you. And ask yourself, what have you been contemplating in the last few minutes, hour, days, weeks? There's something on your mind. There's something that you've asked the question for. And if that sign has happened, you need to go do a little research. Usually it's a sign to proceed or proceed with caution or not do it, or it's ancestry showing up to support you. I find that nature is talking to us all the time. We are energetically connected. So it goes back to the laws of manifestation and the law of attraction. It's a science. There is an energetic push and pull between each of us. And so when we're in the mode of being more magnetic, that's the time to watch and look and keep your eyes wide open and see if there's confirmation coming to you. When we're electric, we're past that, and now we're in the doing, in the expression part that I was talking about. You're now got your answers, you've created your product or whatever it is you've done, and now you're out there and you're marketing it, you're selling it, you're expressing yourself. That's kind of one example. Mm-hmm. So a few days ago, I was starting to come out of this, starting to get answers, starting to get clarity, realized quite a few things that I hadn't recognized previously through COVID. And I was feeling, oh, thank you. It's happening, it's coming. I'm dispersing the old energy and there's new energy coming. I got a call that one of my horses might have been sick in the paddocks. So I quickly got dressed early in the morning and I go out and I come face to face with this wolf. First time in 28 years living here, I've ever seen a wolf. And beautiful. And she stopped and I stopped and we did the eye-to-eye gaze. I tried to take a picture. My hands froze. It was like 35 below the other night, right? And missed it. But the moment was it was a gift. It was a gift. Wow. I felt, hey, you're on the right path. You're on the right path. And even though you're alone, you're not really alone. There's great people around you. They do support your vision. Yeah. They'll come back into the swing. Just keep being gentle with yourself, right? Keep going on this healing path, self-care. It's all good. You'll get where you're going.
Oh,
it's beautiful.
This is so great.
So the signs are important.
Yeah, you've given me so much to think about, because I was on this like really good mode just before Christmas, where every day I was doing like a 10-minute guided meditation. And then you're going to laugh at this. So speaking of like new age in the 80s, on my 11th birthday, my dad took me and 10 of my friends to see Xanadu. Do you remember that movie with Olivia Newton-John?
Yes.
And that was right. My very first introduction to new age thinking. It's a very new age. They're like the Olivia and her sisters are all the daughters of Zeus and everything. So anyways, so I was listening to the song Magic every morning for 5 minutes. And that song's all about, attracting and believing in magic and everything. And then I slid off, and I've been feeling like I'm like, I don't know if this is helping. Like, I've been questioning it. Like, what was I doing? Like, what was the purpose of that? Is it even working? And kind of doubting myself. And now what you're talking about with these signs in nature and paying attention to what is it you're asking for? Like, what are your struggles? That really resonates for me. I took a walk the other morning, and there's a path where we live, and there's like a fence that goes along the path. And I think I was just listening to a podcast, and all of a sudden I see this squirrel on the fence, and he's really looking at me. So I take the headphones off and I just watch, and he runs ahead, and then he turns around and waits for me to catch up. And he did I would say we went about 40 feet like that. And he just stayed with me. And I was like,
Beautiful.
this is amazing. This feels like I'm, how it felt when I had my dog, like I'm walking the dog.
Yeah.
But it's so true. There are so many things that we're missing because if we don't pay attention, and oftentimes it's when you lose a loved one. Like when my dad died, I saw so many signs because it devastated me so much that I became almost immobile to the point where I had no other choice but to look at what was going on around me. My brain couldn't do all its regular, you have to do this, you got to do this, blah, 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 blah. Like that all just shut right down,
Yeah, it's nature can be our greatest teacher. And when we're living a frenetic life, we miss out on the true relationship that we can have, which is so rich and so giving and so healing. And I'm fortunate. I live on the side of a forest here, and there's probably people with cottages, and that experience is priceless to me. Swimming in a freshwater lake, having a moment on your back, looking up at the stars or the clouds. Those moments are so rare now. And when I see people who come to Grail Springs and they put down their bags, they come downstairs and their suits on and they get into the water, within an hour they're like jelly, and they're spouting, I haven't looked at the sky in years, or I haven't seen the stars in 10 years. And it causes you to be deeply reflective and ask, like, what is important in life? It's these moments.
Yes.
These moments where we feel ourself. That's what I think happens to people. You feel yourself, your true self.
Yes. And Madeline, like even you think about in Germany, like all of our aunts and everybody over there, they take, what do they call that? When they take like 3 weeks and they go
to the spa.
To the spa. Right. Like they have to. That's mandatory.
Yeah. I wrote about that this morning, in fact, about the saline salt mists. I was telling someone about it. My grandparents too, $7 a day or 7 marks, whatever it was. Yeah. You bring your picnic, you spend the whole day at the outdoor spa with the thermal pools and the hot, cold knips. And then they had the salt mists where you would walk through the walls of salt.
Oh,
misting.
Nice. Yeah.
And it was part of the lifestyle, and it was paid for usually by their healthcare system, right?
Yeah.
And, life certainly evolves and changes, and culture changes, and what we require and need, and it's ever evolving, and nothing ever stays the same. And being open to whatever is about to happen as a result of this 2-year shutdown, my feeling is we're going to start to see some incredible invention, incredible new technologies that are going to help us. Yeah, there's going to be, someone always goes off the rails, right?
Yeah.
Someone always got to ruin it. But I think there's going to be beautiful music coming and cool fashion, and great it's just all plays. I mean, I just think there's going to be a lot of creative energy
Yeah.
coming forward, so I think we have a lot to look forward to.
Oh, that's so great, Madeline.
Yeah.
So we have to also get in, if anybody wants to visit Grail Springs, what's the situation right now, and what sort of can they look forward to?
So happily, we opened yesterday.
Yay.
Felt like a really long shutdown, this last one. But we are voluntarily keeping our numbers down a little bit, just till, I believe, February 21st, when they're going to open up a little bit more. But yeah, we're fully open. The spa's open, the restaurant, the dining room. They're hiking right now, actually. They got a campfire going with hot chocolate. It's our winter spa fest this month.
Oh, great.
So we got to open just in time for that, where we celebrate being outdoors and enjoying a lot of pampering and self-care. And yeah, it's a good time
Yeah, you
to
do
come.
snowshoeing and
Yep, there's snowshoeing today around the lake.
oh
Yeah, we have a campfire going just right beside on the beach that they'll come back
beautiful.
to and have some hot chocolate.
And people can stay overnight there as well, like at your place.
Most people will stay 4, 5, 6, 7 nights is probably our average. And we're open year round. We close for 2 weeks at Christmas, but open year round. And we're really, I would say, a wonderful venue for the healing arts, coaching, meditation, yoga, all things holistic.
Yeah.
All things holistic. So we've got the healers here and incredible staff, very caring. So yeah, amazing. I would love, you can check us out, grailsprings.com, and hope to see some of you. Come say hi.
Oh, that's so great, Madeline. I am so happy we got to have this chat. And
me too. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for changing the energy. See, we don't, even on screen, it's powerful.
Yeah, it can be, for sure.
Totally. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. And I really wish everybody a beautiful future. Just stay calm. Yeah. Stay calm. Carry on.
That's right.
Be good to yourself. Be good to yourself. Be gentle.
Yeah.
And find your support network, your healer, your coach, whatever it takes. They're out there to help you find those, direct you towards the answers you're looking for.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. I love it.
Okay.
All right, Madeline, I'm going to put you in our little green room and I'll be right back with you.
All right. I'll be waiting. Take care, everybody.
Thank you. Now. Thank you all so much for tuning in today. That was so great. I feel so uplifted and happy for the future. Madeline made so many great points. So I hope you enjoyed the interview. If you happen to be watching on YouTube, please subscribe to our channel so that you can hear more interviews with amazing women just like Madeline. And don't forget to go to brendabadome.com, check out her website, check out her happy colors for her spring collection, and use the coupon code GET2KNOW HER for 22% off of your order. And of course, you want to visit glamjewels.com as well to get yourself the coordinating accessories. Have a great day and keep on showing the world your sparkle. Thanks so much for tuning in.